that struck my attention and inspired me to begin writing. And this one is called Giving Alms. I love how, when I least expect it, he turns my world upside down. Just when things are getting boring, complacent, routine, he randomly offers a random stranger a random act of kindness. This moment of generosity of spirit and of self, this is why I married him. He reminds me to be human, to be decent, to be giving. He is better than I could ever be, and he's mine. And I'm going to stick with a little bit of the soft romantic side again. This one is called Spooning. Humid breath flowing slow and smooth, tangling in the tiny tendrils at the nape of my neck and flowing further, leaving goose-pimple flesh. Restful, rhythmic pulses against my past keep time with dozy dreaming. A scintillating squeeze and a wiggling wriggle strengthen the embrace as you drift to dreamland with a soft, deep sigh. Lips linger at my earlobe with a ghost soft touch. I am encircled, serene and satisfied, fulfilled in my repose, and slipping into a sated, soundless sleep. This one is not in my book. It's actually a much more recent composition. So this one is posted online on my DeviantArt page. But I'm going to share it with you guys tonight. It's simply called Let Me. Let me love you. Let me hold you close, wipe your tears, stroke your cheek, and adore you. Let me fall at your feet and worship you. Let me kiss you, tender and soft, reverent and chaste. Let me fill my days with all that you are, and my nights with all that I can give. You don't have to love me. You don't owe me anything. But when the tables are turned, when it comes to loving you, let me. All right, I chose to title my book Inevitable, and that's because a lot of life, especially for those of us with the poetic mind, tends to seem a little inevitable. Things come at you and you think, yep, that had to happen, whether it was good or bad. Like that. It was inevitable. It had to happen. I recently did my master's thesis, and the focus of my thesis was poetry, and this one is also included there. This is a style called a rondeau, French in origin, and so you'll see a little bit of repetition of partial lines in the process. So this one had a very strict form to follow. It was a bit of a challenge because I tend to be more of a free verse person. I had a dream of me and you. It told me of things I already knew. It spoke of how I couldn't see whenever you're standing there next to me, because I'm dreaming that it's true. This dream, it told some big lies too. It said that you were in love with me, you. But I knew that couldn't be. I had a dream. I've felt a love that's bright and new, and I've seen it atrophy, cold and blue. How I feel now is strange to me. Inevitable is what you seem to be. I will never stop loving you. I had a dream. Again, along the same lines, trying to work within a specific and existing form. This is a villanelle. I think most of us are familiar with Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night, which is also a villanelle. This was one of my first attempts at that form, and it's very hard to get the pattern right where lines A and C also work as a couplet at the end. So this one was a little bit of work, but I think I was able to pull it off. This one's called Unwise. I want to be unwise with you, impetuously embrace, and do the things we ought not do. I want to feel the breath of you on the contours of my face. I want to be unwise with you. I want to hear you whisper truth, fear not, there's no disgrace, and do the things we ought not do. Close the distance between me and you, getting rid of open space. I want to be unwise with you. Come closer than you wanted to, reach out, gently lift my face, and do the things we ought not do. Hold me like I belong I also use poetry to express when I'm a little bit upset. I will preface this with that it is not about my husband. This is someone who really ticked me off by the way he was treating employees and other patrons of a place where I was waiting in line. I call this one The Void because that's how I felt about him. And you'll see how angry I was. You pretentious little prick. How dare you? You come in here with your smirking eyes and your smarmy hair and your elitist, holier-than-thou attitude bullshit. What makes you think you're God's gift, creation's causeway, nature's chosen specimen? Siéntate, enferme la bouche. You are nothing. Worse than that. You are a gaping black hole sucking up the energy in the room and leaving in its stead the actual absence of anything. And this one, I hope some of the ladies in the room can identify with this one. I really kind of got thinking one day and really wanted to know whose idea this was. Why did someone somewhere make this rule for women that is so arbitrary and bothersome and time-consuming? Whose idea was this? I hate shaving my legs. And everything else for that matter. The task is mundane and slightly inhumane. After all, if God wanted us to have smooth legs, wouldn't he have made us that way? The early warning signs of carpal tunnel make the task unlikely to impossible with any modicum of efficiency and a minimum of carnage anyway. And I have one more. A lot of my poetry tends to be very in my head and very sensual. This is one of the few that I can get away with in public, and it's only that older one. This one's called Wrecked Refrain. I thought of you again, when the space between my legs was wet and warm and moist like the humid Houston night. I thought of you again, when the beads of sweat were cold against my goose-pimpled skin like the freon-fueled frigidity of overcooled rooms. I thought of you again, when the sky flashed white and hot, screaming her anguish like deep summer in the deeper south. I thought of you again, when the musty, rusted air found its escape from ancient tones like desert dust storms stealing breath. I thought of you again, when paint-peeling shutters slammed and shivering sashes sighed, like my heart when you said my name.